very good morning, afternoon, evening to all who have joined us today. Uh, to the regular joiners of ProApp workshops, you may not be accustomed with this space. I am filling in the shoes of your favorite host, Rashika, for the day. So let's begin. Okay, let's uh, let's start with a fact that probably not a lot of you may know, but Airbnb, the app that many of you use to book homes across the world, it was going to go bust back in 2009. It was going to be a classic startup failure story. But what saved Airbnb, one of the key factors that saved Airbnb was the implementation of design thinking. Now, Amo, design thinking, right? It says design. Is it just for designers? Not really. It is not exclusive to designers and is more than just a process. It opens up an entirely new way to think, and it offers a collection of hands on methods to help you apply this new mindset. And to further talk about it, we have Ricky with us. So the thing you need to know about Ricky is he is super enthusiastic about design, and not just design. It's He's also interested in Web3. There's artificial intelligence. There's machine learning that he's interested in, and basically products that create well-being. He has led a tech company accelerating how Africans from anywhere and people of color move into the tech industry, leveraging tech, social profiling, and microclasses. His goal is to become a global business strategic leader, helping African countries create an agile, secure, and affordable digital solution to transition fully into the future of work. I think by now you must be pretty excited to get this underway. So I wouldn't take any more time. Just to let everyone know that when this session is on, you can drop in your questions in the Q&A panel that you have, and we will pick up your questions at the end of the session once Ricky is done presenting. And you also have the chat window where you can definitely chat. So Ricky, I'll pass on the mic to you. Please take it away.
So much. Yeah, my name is Ricky. Mic check. You can hear me loud and clear, right? Please confirm if you can hear me loud and clear. Beautiful. All right. My name is Ricky. Currently, I work as a product manager with my circle. As a product manager and also co-founder of my circle. Previously, worked as a product manager with Cloud Commerce. Which is place design thinking in just the technology aspect alone, right? In the technology aspect alone, where it's just you are just working on, and it's the fact that for every of your life, every of your daily life, design thinking, you actually carry out design thinking. So in this class, we're going to be walking through how important design thinking is for product designers, right? So without further ado, let's just get started, right? So in this class, what would you learn? First, you're learning what product design is, and different types of product design that are product designers available, what design thinking is, and when to use it. You're also learning about how to prepare and see how to take actions when opportunity arises. And in this class, you'll further learning how to use design thinking to generate innovative ideas. And lastly, you'll be learning how to take as many ideas that you generate and determine which ones are actually likely to produce specific and desired outcomes. But before we continue, right, I wish mic check. Is there any way I can actually get feedback from the from our learners that are actually watching this class now? So that because I sort of like love my class to always be interactive. So could I get any response from them, or I should just go ahead and keep teaching?
So they can respond via chat. You will have access to the chat window. You can have it
Oh,
open.
beautiful.
You can see what people are talking about,
Okay,
and
beautiful.
you can definitely respond over there. As far as the questions are concerned, we would preferably like to take them up at the end. Uh,
Okay, okay.
but yeah, people can definitely chat and discuss things as we move ahead with this presentation. Yeah.
All right, beautiful. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so let's just move ahead. So What is design thinking? Okay. However, now this is like an introductory phase, right? Let me just break it down for, especially for those that are just joining the class for the very first time, right? And for those who are looking to transition into product design. When we're talking about product design, right? I just think as product design as a way to develop the solution by building a technology product, by designing the technology product. Now, one thing is definite, right? Every problem desires a solution. And right now, we live in a world where technology is advanced, and gone are the days where you have to visit a bank to make your transaction. You could equally do that through a bank application. The bank application, what you're using, the platform you're using, was actually done by a designer. So simply, we could say product design is just a way of designing, developing, and improving product such that they meet customers' need, they meet users' need, and they are actually not just accessible to customers, but also what's also usable. So as a product designer, your main job is to understand the needs and the goal of the users. You're also defining the problem and creating solutions. We'll get to talk about more about this as the class goes on. As a product designer, much of your job, bulk of your job actually deals with design. So you're working with depend on the tools you're using, Figma, Adobe XD, Sketch, Whimsica, whatever to actually create these wireframes, to create these designs that actually solve problem. You also deal with testing. You also collaborate and interact, communicate with your stakeholders, right? There are different types of product designers. Okay, there's a UI designer who actually focus on the interface alone, the UX designer who deal with the experience. There's the information architect who actually just draws the skeletal structures of products. I mean, like I think for those of you actually, whenever you're trying to connect to a particular platform and there's this internet disruption, you see the box, something like the black and white that actually pops out before the pictures and the colors actually come in. You see those pictures, those boxes, those skeletal structures. Those are the wireframes, right? And then if we have structured companies who they are designers who are actually majorly based in that. You also have the interaction designer who deal with the interactions, right? Moving from one position to another. You have the visual designer, you have the product designer, which is a comparison, I mean, like, which consists based of the interface and the experience, right? So as a designer, as a product designer, you're not just doing the interface alone, but you're also doing the designer. Other designers are like you have the service designer, the accessibility designer, the motion designer, the brand designer, the content, AR, VR, the augmented reality and virtual reality designers. You have the game designer, you have the sound designer, prototyping designer. But however, in our today's case study, right, in the technology space, the major product designers that actually exist that are more current are the interface designer, the experience designer, the product designer, which can compare, which actually consist of the two, and then you have kind of like the AR and VR designer, right? And then remember what I said, like these are just a few examples, and also it's depend on the organization, right? You have organizations where the product designer does both interface and experience alone. You have organizations where they are structured companies like Google, like Amazon, where there's a particular department that actually deal on this, right? Design traits of a product designer, you have the user mindset, creativity, ability to communicate, technical skills, adaptability, research skills, empathy, ability to put yourself in the customer shoes, and customer focus. We're going to be talking more about this as we move on with the design thinking. So now this is where we begin, right? And the reason why I needed to put those few slides you just saw was for the sake of those who are just joining us for the first time, right? Actually, for those who are just looking to transition, those who are looking to start a career as a product designer, right? So I think that is actually, I would assume that is pretty clear. Now, this is where we begin the design thinking. But before we begin, this is a quick question. How do you approach problems? I mean, like, this is a question that really doesn't it's not pertaining to whether you're old, whether you're young, whether you're male, whether you're female. Everyone has a problem, and the way we approach problems are actually totally different. If I should ask one person, how do you approach a problem? Person A might say, I love to break down the probable solutions, right? I love to go back a little bit, backtrack, right? So I take a few steps back and evaluate the probable solutions I've developed before picking them one after the other. If solution A doesn't work, solution B might work. Another person might say, okay, whatever comes first to my mind, that is what I act on, right? So everyone has a different approach to solving problems, right? And this is one particular I mean, I came across this image and I just really liked it because it spoke to me. And this image actually keeps you in the keeps you in a way to think. Just it just brings out your thinking umbrella. And this is like the first icebreaker we have, right? On your way to work, you found a truck stuck on that bridge, shown in the image, and then the truck was largely firm under the bridge. Now the driver couldn't drive out the truck nor reverse. It caused a pretty bad gridlock, right? Unfortunately, fuel began to drip on the road, which is like, come on, the dangerous situation there, right? The call for alert. Now, we were told that traffic officials, policemen, firefighters, everyone has actually gathered around to provide a solution. What do you think they should do and why? Now, this is the moment where I I wish I had a class where everyone I could hear everyone's voice and everyone can interact. But no problem, that is fine. Now, the easiest solution to this, right? One person could say, okay, why don't we take out the back of the truck since that is a place that is damaged? Another one could say, okay, could we lift the bridge? I mean, like, I doubt if that is possible. Well, but the quickest solution to this and the best solution is simple. Deflate the tires. Deflate all the tires. Now, when all the tires are deflated, what happens? When all the tires are deflated, what happens? Okay. So when all the tires are deflated, what happened? You see that it's possible to move out the truck. Okay, when all the tires are deflated, it's actually very, very possible and very easy to move out the truck. Okay, please just give me a minute. Thank you. Okay, so I can see feedback or make the screen bigger. The chat is disabled. Okay, so probably you could just
Yeah, we can you please try again, Chaitanya, once?
okay. So because my screen actually looks very ideal and big on my end here, so you might want to like enlarge your screen a little bit. Okay, all right, thank you. So I think let's just move ahead. So please, if there's an issue, please just you could just communicate to me so that everyone is actually moving along. Hi, Grace, welcome. So, like I said, the quickest way to do this is to do it. Deflate the tires, right? If all the tires are deflated from the front tires, the back tires, come on, it's easier to drag the truck outside the under the bridge, right? And of course, gridlocks, and everything are now resolved. So let's just move ahead. Now, some of the problems we actually face while building products. Number one is not knowing the exact problems we want to solve. Now, this actually particularly occurs in most tech products, right? Where there's a need to build a solution, but however, the problem isn't well stated. So this is like one major problem that we face whenever products are being built, right? Not knowing the exact problem we want to solve. Another one is not having a clear understanding of the users we're solving it for. Now, it's one thing to build a product, it's one thing to have a solution, it's another thing to have an acceptable solution or an acceptable product. Take note of it that not every product solve a problem. Not every design solve a problem, right? So if you are creating a product or you're building a product as a product manager or you're designing a product as a product designer, you should understand your users. Who are your target audience? Who are these products? Who are going to be the end users of this product? Remember, as a designer, you're not building the product for yourself. You are building it for what? For the users, right? So that a product looks acceptable to you as a designer doesn't mean it's going to be acceptable to the users. That you find it very easy to use doesn't mean it's going to be easy for the users. Another problem we face is not understanding the limits of technology in solving a problem. Now, technology is actually a very key means by which we solve problem. However, you should understand the limits of technology you're going to use to solve the problem. What model of technology are you going to use? How are these technology solutions going to be provided? That also needs to be stated out before a product is being built, right? Another one is understanding the environment. Now, environment is really, really key. I'm going to play a video towards the like as we move on with this class, right? And you're going to understand that better, right? But a product is acceptable or a design is acceptable in this particular region doesn't mean it's going to be accepted or usable in another region. So let's take for example, right? Africa today is still improving in terms of electricity, right? So if you're providing a solution that has to do with solving electrical problem, yes, it's gonna be really ideal for Africans. However, you take that same solution to a place like the United Kingdom or the United States or Germany, you're really not solving the problem. Why? Because almost no one there actually have an electricity issue. Okay, so understanding the environment where your planned solution will exist is really, really necessary. And the last one here is not having a clear business vision. Now, vision inspires creativity for tomorrow. However, my mentor told me that, right? And when there's no vision, the ability to succeed is what is depleted, right? So you should have a clear business vision. The product you want to build, number one, is it a pro bono product? Do you want to offer it as a free product or do you want to generate revenue for it? What kind of revenue do you want to generate? Okay, do you want to sell to the low income, to the high income earners? Those visions, those business ideas, or those business insights should actually be stated before building a product, right? Now, this is one particular icebreaker that actually interests me. And I'm going to play this video quickly. But before then, now it's your first day as a product designer in a reputable Nigerian company or wherever. And you heard a lot about how the MD likes to build different products. Now, you were told that your MD or your managing director is on a mission to be the world's first unicorn. Now, this guy invited you into his house to discuss a product he found online. He wants to build a vision for, he wants to build a product and launch it in Africa. He wants to launch it in Asia. He wants to launch it probably worldwide by January 2024. And he plays you this video. What will you do? Now, let's just go ahead and watch this video, okay? Okay, Ola. I mean, like Ola. Come on. So, just give me a minute. Mic check, mic check. Please confirm if you can hear me.
We can hear you, Ricky. Your
Okay,
screen
beautiful.
sharing is stopped, I guess. That's it.
Okay, yeah, I think it's should be better now. Please confirm if you can. So I'm going back to sharing my screen again. Okay, just a minute. So please confirm if you could actually you saw the video
We
that
saw
I
the video.
shared.
Yeah, we saw the video, but after that, your screen sharing stopped. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I just needed to.
that's okay. Okay.
Okay, so now that's the video, right? Ola restroom, right? And of course, that is like it's a particular solution. It's a particular solution for an individual who is like pressed in a particular wherever he is, right? And then looking at the video, it seems like a solution, right? It seems like a, I mean, like great solution, like awesome solution, right? However, come to think of it, this particular solution is dependent on certain factors. Number one, yes, there's a problem, and that is the fact that you find yourself in an environment where you're really, really pressed. You want to use a restroom. However, there is no place around. Let's take, for example, you are in the road. That is a problem. You're beautiful. Everyone encounters the problem. However, it's environment specific. So let's take, for example, you take this particular solution to a place like India. Of course, we know India to be very largely populated, right? And the need for, or rather, the hope that this particular solution would thrive is actually negative. Why? Because there are certain conditions that are attached. Number one is traffic. I mean, like, think about it. If I'm really pressed or if I really want to use the restroom, I could equally walk into the closest bank, into the closest eatery, into the closest uh, commercial center and use the restroom there. So why do I need to order Ola restroom? Because I'm pressed. Another thing is delay. Now I order and I have to wait till it gets to me. I mean, like, come on. I forgive me to say, like, would I have to pull on my body? No. So this solution is not exactly solving a customer's problem. Of course, if we go to an environment where the traffic is there's like the roads are free, to an environment where you have less of commercial restrooms, it might thrive, but not in a place like Nigeria, not in a place like Lagos, where I'm currently, I mean, like, where I currently am now. I mean, like, it's populated, it's densely populated. The traffic is like really high. So this problem isn't really solving the solution. And which is why, as product designers, the ability for you to think and employ mechanisms such that you are not just providing a solution, but you're providing an acceptable solution is really important. And that is where design thinking comes in. So what would we define design thinking as? Think of design thinking as a non-linear process, as a human-centered iterative process that actually helps you to understand your users, that is your customers, that helps you challenge assumption, that helps you create as many hypotheses as possible, that helps you redefine problem in a light where you have never seen it before. And that also helps you create innovative solutions to prototype and test your solutions. Now, get this right. Design thinking is an everyday activity. It's not limited to technology. It's not limited to it's not limited to your work. It's not just, it's an everyday, you use design thinking every day of your life. Take, for example, you're actually moving out of your house by 6 a.m. in the morning and you have to be back by 4 p.m. However, you need to make 6 stopovers, right? So before leaving the house, what do? You think and plan your day, right? Okay, I have to get to stopover A and then move to stopover B. Okay, I have to get to stopover. And then you can actually plan your day, open and retaining the fact that you are coming back by 4 p.m. Now, what you just did is design thinking. You just provided a solution. You just provided hypothesis, okay? What kind of means of transport am I taking? Am I taking an Uber? Am I driving a bicycle? Am I walking? Right, so you're providing probable solutions for probable hypothesis that could actually redefine this problem. Now, who should use design thinking? Design thinking simply should be used by everyone and anyone, irrespective of age, irrespective of gender, irrespective of location, irrespective of whatever. Everyone uses design thinking. As a product designer, design thinking is for you. As a product manager, design thinking is for you. As a software developer, design thinking is for you. Now, what are the approaches to design thinking? And there are simply 4 approaches. The first one is to empathize with your customer. And what does empathize simply mean? Putting yourself in your customer's shoe. Yes, I'm providing the solution, but if I were to be a customer, this solution that I'm providing, do I really want it? Does it really solve my problem? Is it really something I really want to interact with? Is this solution really something I want to stick with? And how are you doing that? You're conducting several research to develop a deeper understanding of who your customers or who your users are, right? There are different approaches to conducting user research, right? There's a primary research. I think we're going to talk about that as we move on, right? The second one is to define the problem. What exactly is a problem I want to solve? Many a times, designers or product managers, when building products, actually go so complex and define several problems for one solution. Now, why that may be good, but you really want to communicate to your users exactly what the problem is. You really want to define what single problem are you solving and what solution would this what solution what solution would this problem solve? Now, the next thing you're doing is to ideate solutions. Now, after you've created hypothesis, right, you're brainstorming, you're coming up with as many creative solutions as possible. Solution A, solution B, solution C, as many as possible. And I mean, you're sitting down with your team and you're getting to understand their mindset and asking them, okay, how do we work on the solutions? Now, brainstorming, there are different ways to brainstorm with your team. But why brainstorming? What you guys are simply doing is that you're creating as many solutions as possible. Now, when you're done creating the solutions, iterating the solutions, what do? You go ahead. This is the try and test. It's simply called prototype, right? But I prefer to call it the try and test, right? This is where you build a prototype for your series of for the series of solutions you've provided, right? And then you test these hypotheses, you test the prototypes to see which one actually fits the customers. Now, remember I said something earlier that design thinking is a non-linear process. And what does non-linear mean? It simply means that it is not straightforward. It's not straightforward. It's not from A to from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. No, you can actually get to your prototype and test, and you could realize or you could discover that this solution really doesn't fit what the users want. And then you can come back to 2, you can come back to 1, you can come back to defining the problem to get exactly what the problem is. You can come back to empathize with the customers, to run your research again, to really understand if this is a solution the customers want. You could get your ideal solutions and realize that this prototypes this solutions the brainstorm during the course of a brainstorming sessions, the probable hypothesis that you guys brought out as a team doesn't really fit what the customers want. And you can come back to define the problem, you can come back to empathize. So it's a non-linear process such that 1 is neither dependent on 2, 2 is neither dependent on 3, and either of them is dependent on anyone. So, okay. So this is simply the background of design thinking, right? Design thinking was actually it came to popularization by Tim Brown and David Kelly of IDEO and the Stanford D School, right? And design thinking was actually insinuated then as a structured creative thinking problem solving process, but it enables innovation and positive impact, and that is really, really true. Why working on your design thinking process, you get to find out about solutions that you never think would exist, solutions that the cost. I mean, like, one thing about design thinking is that it eliminates assumption, right? Design thinking was also insinuated as a human-centered design process that is truly, which of course you truly understand and you can actually empathize with your user. Now, this is like the double diamond design thinking process. I mean, like, it's actually a simple mechanism where you provide solutions, and it just deals with 2 aspects. There's the diverge aspect and there's the converge aspect. Now, diverge simply means you're opening up yourself, right? Opening up yourself. And converge simply means, you're closing up yourself to rethink. So let's put it this way, right? During your discover process, it's a diverge process. Why? Because you are opening up yourself to your users to get their feedback during surveys, during running online surveys, primary research, getting one-on-one interview with them. And when you've actually gotten this feedback, or once you've spoken to your users or to your potential customers, and you get to understand their problem, the struggles they're having their pain points, you come back and you do what? Converge. Now you want to define, out of the several problems of the pain points of your customers, you really want to pinpoint what is the exact problem these customers are facing. So you are defining the problem. And after that, you do what? It's a diverse process again. You open up yourself to develop, open up yourself to create as many hypotheses, create as many solutions as possible. And then after creating this hypothesis, working on them, going back to reiterate them, and it's a coverage. What do? You deliver it to your customers, right? So that is like an open close, a double diamond process method. Now, what role does customer play in all of this? I mean, like, I've been speaking for a while, and you've been hearing me mention customers over, or users over and over again. Now, the customers are also called the users. However, take note, as a designer, you call them users and not customers. Yeah, product manager, you can call them customers, you can call them users, but for a designer, they are strictly called users of a product, right? Now, your customer in your design thinking process is your king. Without anything, you can't do anything without your customers. And the reason being is that these guys determine whether you scale or you or you don't. They determine whether you make profits or you don't. They determine if they will accept your solution or not. Remember, I mentioned earlier that as a product designer, you are not designing for yourself. Yes, the product you've designed may be really appealing, visually appealing to you, but if it doesn't solve the customer's problem, you've not really done anything. So always put your customers at the center of everything. Focus on providing value to them. And if there's one thing over my years of experience I've come to understand is that marketing the product, right? Yeah, you market the product, the visual appeal of the product invites the customers or invites the users to use your products. However, what we keep them is the usability. What we keep them is the accessibility. What we keep them is the experience. So as a designer, the interface will bring the customers, but the experience will actually determine if they will stay or go away. I mean, like, so if I should ask you, there listening, what is your favorite product or what is your favorite application? You would equally tell me, your favorite product is this. My favorite application is this, is Twitter, is PayPal, is whatever application it is. And if I should ask you why, quite a number of the feedback I would be getting is because it's easy to use. Because I mean, like, it makes me feel good whenever I'm using it, right? So, and I love to use this case scenario. Three, we have three social media application: Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Now, take notes. These three products or these three applications are all social media platforms, right? Yes, successful social media platforms. However, they provide different solutions. You come to Twitter, and Twitter is a place of free speech. You know, you could speak equally and no one condemns you. I mean, like, everyone is like probably almost fighting everyone, right? You come to Instagram and it feels like everyone wants to show off. I mean, like, everyone is showing like code. Yeah, I mean, like, so Twitter is a place of like free speech. Yeah, do whatever you want. You come to Instagram, and it's like a place where you just want to get updated. Like, hey, what is the latest trend, right? But you come to LinkedIn, which is another social media platform, and in LinkedIn, it feels like everyone is a professional. And it feels like, oh, okay, the most of the news you get on LinkedIn is, I'm happy to announce. And you're there thinking about your life. Okay, come, when am I going to announce my own too? I think so. So these are like different these are different social media platforms. However, they provide solutions to the customers, right? Guess what? You have other social media platforms that are, I mean, like, that actually existing. But the reason why you don't know them today, or the reason why you once knew them, was because they didn't solve the problem that your favorite application is actually currently solving. So remember, customer is actually the key, right? Now, so what I've mentioned now is actually practical application to using design thinking, where from your empathy to your define to your ideas, and then your trial and test. Now, but how do you go ahead with all this? The first thing you're doing is to start with questions. Yes, I want to build a solution. I want to provide a solution that actually helps people do this, that actually helps people move from point A to point B. The first thing you're asking is, who are you designing this product for? What is the design problem? And what resources do you have? Now, if those questions are not clearly stated, designing would be really, really, really difficult. Building a solution will be really difficult. You want to ask yourself, yes, this product I'm creating, what target market am I actually, do I want it to be for? Is it for the Gen Zs? Is it for the millennials? Is it for kids? Is it so you really want to state, is it for male? Is it for female? Or is it for anyone? Is it for high income earners? Is it for low income earners? Is it for people is it for students? So you really want to define who you are designing for. You want to also talk about the design problem. What problem am I solving, right? And ProApp currently is actually bridging the gap of learning premium digital skills, particularly product design. Probably before 5 to 7 years before now, you would have to walk into the four walls of a school and learn design thinking from a teacher or learn product design from a teacher. And then you come back, you're exhausted, you're tired, there's assignment to do, and like you're working. But right now, we're using a platform, we're using ProApp that is actually bridging that gap. Now, and what is the problem here? That accessing premium digital skills can be a hassle for the average individual. However, we want to provide a platform that actually helps people learn premium design skills without hassle. Come on boot camps and learn, work on real life projects, and get mentors. That is a defined problem. And what resources do you have? Talking about prop, yes, there's technology. Yes, we have a platform, a digital platform that actually helps us communicate. In this case scenario, we have Zoom, right? We have other resources like a team that is actually helping everyone with their different abilities to make sure that this is actually success. So you really want to state all this before you go ahead and with your solution. So I'm just going to run through because I think I've actually emphasized this. You're empathizing with your customers, right? So empathizing with your customer, you really want to fully understand what the problem is that they face, right? And I mean, like, you don't want to leverage on emotion. You don't want to assume, and which is why you practice empathy. You're putting yourself in their shoes, getting to know what are your pain points, what are your frustrations. Okay, so what solutions if you're let's take for example you are using a savings platform, right? What current or you're building a savings platform, right? So currently, do you save your money online? Yes, if you do, what kind of platform do you use? What frustration do you get from the current platform you are having? And how can the solution be solved? What major resources do you think you need? So you are taking this from your customers and opening up. And one thing I always mention is avoid asking open-ended, avoid asking the yes or no questions. So you really want to speak to your customers and get to understand their mindsets. And which is why I always advocate my team to go on physical interviews. That primary research is one that can simply not be overemphasized. Speaking with your customers physically goes a so long way. Why? Because you get to understand their mindset. You can equally tell from their frustration. You can tell if they are angry, if they are happy. You can tell if they are happy using the solution. You can tell if your solution you probably provide will solve their problem. It's totally different when you run another primary research like surveys where you are asking them, yeah, what kind of application, and then they have to fill forms online. Emotions could be hidden in such research, in such a kind of primary research. But when you speak to your customers physically, you can get to understand what really they need, right? So another thing when you're empathizing, you have to observe, you have to notice how they feel, how they think, what they need. You have to immerse yourself in their shoes. You need to understand them, understand their mindsets, and you have to engage, ask the right question. The right question you ask would actually give you the right answer. Assume a beginner's mindset. Okay, forget everything you've you actually know before, and then question everything. Ask the how, what, why. Okay, how did you come across the solution? What is your current pain point, or uh, 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 what is your major pain point, and why do you want the solution? How would it help you, right? So you are asking the 5 whys, right? You are because you want to understand the root cause of a problem, right? I mentioned conduct interviews, physical interviews actually go a long way. Okay, cool. So now I think some tools you actually use are, you have the customer journey mapping, empathy map, customer co-creation, and then prototyping, right? Customer journey map is that you really want to know how your customer moves from point A to point B, and then getting to understand their perspective using storytelling and visuals to illustrate the relationship that your customer has with your solution, right? Empathy map actually deals that. I think we're going to see empathy map as we move on with the class, right? It's actually a visualization method that actually articulates what your customers are feeling, what they are doing, what they are saying, and what they're doing, do, say, feel, and how they are acting, right? So using your empathy map, it's a 4 quadrants. You can equally impute the different attitudes or different observations that your customers or your users are actually having, right? Yes, customer co-creation actually often utilize the opinion and ideas from a customer base, bringing fresh and innovative concepts to a business, right? And then you have a prototype that actually allows you to provide a particular tangible product, a probable solution that is capable of solving the problem. Now, it's not the final product, it's not, but it's just something that actually communicates what solution you would be providing. Now, this is like a typical example of a customer. Okay, so I can see some questions coming in. I think we're going to answer them at the end of the class. This is a typical example of an empathy map, right? Where the users think, how they're thinking, what they hear, right? What do they see? What do they do? What do they say? What do they do? And then below you have their pain points and the gain, right? The pain point is their fears, their frustrations, and the current obstacle that they actually have. Please give me a quick minute. All right, thank you so much. So let's move on now. This is, like I said, a typical example of an empathy map, right? How are your users thinking? Are they feeling? Do they feel frustrated, right? What do they see in the environment, their friends, right? What the market offers? What do they really admire, right? And then what they're hearing, what their friends are saying about a similar product, what their friends are saying about the same product that they have in the same frustrations, you know, and all that. So once you have aligned, once you've actually illustrated this is like a perfect way to share the solutions, or rather the frustrations that your customers are having. Right now, this is an after creating an empathy map, you go on to create a persona. Now, a persona is actually an image or a description that actually illustrates the average typical customer you're going to provide the solution for. So, and that actually persona actually talks about the typical, like your ideal customer, right, or your ideal user, with their likes, their dislikes, and all about it. Yeah, you have an example, right? This is she's 39 years old, Her name is Francine. She loves to travel. I mean, like she travels to client venues and sites regularly. She typically has to drive or take an Uber or Lyft, right? She's unable to walk during travel, and then quite a number of information about her. She's 39 years old, where she stays, if she's married, two kids. So when you're speaking with your customers, these are details you are actually like having. So let's take, for example, right? You want to provide a car hailing product, a car hailing application like Uber, right? You want to determine your demography, right? Yes, in this particular region, you're providing the solution. The majority of the cities or majority of the users there in that particular location, do they have cars? I mean, like if they have private cars, and really, you really want to like do a rethink. Are they married? Right. Of course, in every for every home, at least there should be a car. So if there's a family, you can equally tell that okay, this every family actually has a car, right? So you really want to like take details of a typical customers and align them with the kind of solutions you're trying to provide. So this is a typical a customer journey map, right? So after the also talking about empathy, after the solution, I mean, like you've created your hypothesis, right? For customer one, it wants to go through the user, he wants to sign up, he wants to go through onboarding, and then he abandons your product. Customer two, he signs up, he goes through the onboarding, he continues to use the product as a free user. Customer three signs up, goes through onboarding. I mean, like he wants the freemium, right? However, while he's using the freemium, you give him an option to upgrade, and he does it. He upgrades to premium. You have customer four, right? The sign up, it goes through the onboarding, he upgrades immediately, and he continues as business user. Now, these are different categories of customers. Remember, I said something that the interface brings a customer, but the experience will actually keep them, right? So for a typical customer, like customer one, they come to your application and then they go through the onboarding and you don't see them again, right? And then you really want to provide a solution where your users can actually stay till the end until you're providing them with a solution and they would pay anything for it. One typical new product that just I mean like that is in the market today is Chat GPT. I mean, like this is like one of the, I think it's so far it's the most explosive product that has actually gotten customer usage. In just in, I mean, 60 days, you are like over 1 million users. I mean, like over 10 million users in just 60 days. That is like, that is really, that shows you that is a level of solution that like it's over the board. And I can tell you for a fact, you and I both know, and like we use Chat GPT, and we can actually agree that if Chat, of course, yeah, there's a premium that is actually out now, but anyone and everyone would actually pay to use it. Why? Because it provides a particular solution as clear and even faster than other search engines you would actually think of. So that is like the power of AI. So you want to build a product, you want to build a solution that would actually retain your customers till the end, right? These are like the yeah. So yeah, you have like the user journey. This is like a perfect and presentable way, kind of fun way to portray your user journey, your user pain points, and your how by twist statement, right? Now, defining the problem. Like I said, you want to create a meaningful and actionable problem statement. Of course, you're putting your emotions aside, you're creating strong, you're including strong insights, and you're generating a lot of, excuse me, you're generating a lot of possibilities, right, for that particular solution. Please give me a minute. Thank you. I'm back. Okay, so this is a check. Okay, so mic check, yeah. So that's like a point of view, right? For
Ricky, your screen has stopped.
yes, I just saw that, so I'm putting it back right now.
Sure.
So now this is like a point of view template, right? Most product managers actually use this, right? Why? Because while you're defining the problem, it's actually easier because that way you really want to know what your users are, right? Stating your users their current need and their insight. And you have an example here, right? An adult person who lives in the city, that's a typical user, and he needs a car. I mean, like, it needs a car for about 10 to 60 minutes trips, 1 to 4 times per week. And then the insights you actually have in here is that the user would not want to use his own car as it'll be too expensive compared to his needs, right? He would like to share a car with other users who have similar needs. So this is like the insight. Now, if you actually notice here, what was defined was the persona, right? The typical user, the persona of the user, identify their most essential needs, what exactly they want your solution for, and then you expressing insights that you gained doing the research. So this is like another way to actually empathize and define the problem. Of course, here you're actually creating like a point of view, right? And you're providing a narrow focus, right? So your user needs your solution because, so your user who is like a typical 30-year-old man needs your savings platform because the culture of he doesn't have a culture to save. So you have a user here, you have their need, and you have an insight, right? And of course, this is actually one this point of view modeling process is actually one particular process that is actually really direct. Why? Because it gives you a clear understanding of what solution you want to provide. And in terms of communicating it to your stakeholder, it's actually really easy. Okay. So please forgive me. I think I'm just gonna be like running now because we're sort of like out, almost like running out of time, right? This is like your out by three statement. Now, how might we design a driverless car which is environmentally friendly, which is cheap, and which is easy for more people to share? Now, the H or also the how might we also call HMW questions are the best way to open a brainstorm and other ideation sessions, especially when you're sitting down with your team, right? So you're sitting down with your team and you guys want to build a car hailing application that actually help users move from point A to point B. And then you want to break down this action statements into smaller bits such that everyone is actually being carried along. And then while brainstorming, everyone is actually putting in one or two solutions. Yes, I think we can actually do this. We can actually design this driverless car. We can actually build a platform that actually helps us do this. I mean, like, so many insights are coming, and when all these insights are actually put together, you can actually drive down the most important one, which actually pertains to the user. Okay, so yeah, I know my screen is off. I just need to like, because I have quite a number of slides here. So I just need to. Mic check, okay. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. So we've been speaking about we've been talking about defining the problem, defining the empathy, defining the problem. Now let's look at like the ideation stage. Now this is like one really amazing stage that is vital to the design thinking phase. And simply, the ideation phase is where you generate ideas and solutions through sessions such as sketching, prototyping, brainstorming. I mean, like you're creating the worst case scenario, right? And take note that the goal of the ideation stage is that you want to actually explore a wide range of solutions and generate different design alternative, right? Now we can easily we equally know that Google providing a solution didn't just arrive at one particular solution to become a search engine where you actually look for or where I mean like you just come in to look for things, right? There are other solutions Google provide, right? I mean like Google Calendar that actually gives you notification 3 hours, 24 hours, like months even before you actually do or have a meeting or you actually have an event. You are the other solutions Google provide, right? So these are like possible different case solutions that Google had provided, right? Before even deciding that they want to stick with just as Google as a search engine. However, you have other solutions behind it. Now, addition actually helps you to ask the right question, right? And it innovates with a strong focus on your users, their needs, their insight. It actually helps you pull back your emotions, and then you step beyond the obvious solutions, and then you increase your innovative potential of a product, right? Addition also helps you uncover unexpected areas of innovation, especially when you're brainstorming with your team, when you're thinking of the worst case scenario that could happen and how to solve it, right? It is really, really important. Why? Because many times when you build a product, you really can determine the kind of problems that would happen in the coming years, in the coming months. So you really want to create as many possible solutions for as many problems that may occur, right? So this is like one favorite quote I actually like. It's not about coming up with the right idea. This is like the Stanford D School. It's not about coming up with the right idea. It's about generating the broadest range of possibilities. Now, this actually speaks to me personally because whenever I come across with different problems, like with a particular problem in my life, I always want to like speak to as many people as possible and get to understand how they can help me. People that have been in the same shoes as me and that have overcome, that have actually come out of this problem. So after doing that, I have a range of possible solutions that I can actually provide, which actually helps me towards solving that particular problem, right? Now, there are different ideation tools that we have here. You have the brainstorm, when you're sitting down with your team and then you guys actually dropping ideas. You have the brain dump, you have the brain writes, you have brain work, you have the challenge assumption, you have the scamper method, the mind map, the sketching, you have storyboarding, and you also have analogies, right? Uh okay. So now this is like thinking within yourself, right? You want to identify the assumptions that you have about the products you're building. And then these assumptions, you want to challenge them. So let's take, for example, right? I want to build a car hailing application like we've been actually saying. Now you want to provide different probable difficulties that may come up, okay? What if we encounter government policies, government regulations in the closest in the coming months? How do we solve this problem? How do we solve the problem of fuel scarcity, right? So these are assumptions that you actually created, and the ability to challenge these assumptions and actually provide the solution, a right solution for them, even if they don't exist yet, is super, super important. Now you have the individual ideation, which is like brainwriting. And here, every team member has 3 minutes to jot down the problem. Right after 3 minutes, you pass your paper to the person to your right. I mean, like, I wish this was a class where we could actually like do it. It happens mostly in physical classes, and whenever I'm having team meetings, right? This individual ideation, I use this. Why? Because especially in a case scenario where you really do not want to know which person wrote which, right? So many times you could just write down solutions from your end, providing a particular problem statement, defining it, and writing out the solution. Right now, the person has 3 minutes to write their own ideas and flesh out ones that already exist on this page. And then you repeat this process until everyone gets the original paper back. And then when you go around, when this paper has gone around, you can equally tell one person not just has his own idea, but has about 3, 4, 5 different ideas that others have actually stated. Now, this is like the group ideation, right? The group ideation is actually, this is like the viewers ideation. It happens in the group. Instead of asking, how do I solve this problem? You're asking, how do I achieve this goal? So it's like it's like thinking from the bottom. And it's really, really important. Why? Because you're asking yourself, okay, how can we even provide solutions to this problem? Or you're asking yourself, how do we, or how do I achieve the opposites of these goals? Now, the way you're doing this is that you're rephrasing this question such that you're looking for a more strategic way to actually create the problem instead of solution. I mean, like, it sounds crazy. Why? But it actually works. Why? Because you're providing your best possible solution to the outlined problem. And now you further elaborate on your solutions, and you're asking yourself, what are the more important parts of the problem or the solution that we haven't looked at? And now, definitely, like I said, this group ideation. Okay. Now this part, this another one, group ideation. That's the industry swap. Sorry, but check. Okay. That's the industry swap. Is actually means of ideation, right? That is actually great for brainstorming as a group, right? And this actually has to do with the template, right? Now you create a template, just something on the left, and then you just like pass it around. How might we let everyone write their own definition of their problem statements? How do we tackle this problem? Let them they write whatever problem, whatever solution they have on their mind, and you're asking them, how do you think the solution will look like for the customers? How do you think it will also look like for us as a business, for us as the I mean, like, as the company, right? How would we benefit us? So everyone actually writes whatever they feel, and after that, as a team lead, you could actually come up and read the solutions. And you just find out that many times people have actually created different solutions from different probable statements. Okay, so I think we're wrapping up this session. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna like quickly run with the slide. So let's just like, so that is like ideation. Now let's go to prototyping, right? Now prototyping is actually an experimental process where the design team sits down and then they implement this idea into a tangible form. Now you have the probable solutions, you have the hypothesis that you've actually gathered together. You guys, you've empathized with your customer, you've stated what the problem is. And right now, this is the time where you have to impute all those probable solutions into something tangible from paper to digital such that it communicates an overall thought process of what the customer wants. Now, with prototype, you can actually refine and validate your idea so that your brand can actually release the right product. Now, many a times, prototyping, there are companies who actually create as many as 4, 5. I mean, like you can create as many prototypes as possible, depending on the problem that you are actually solving. The advantage of prototype is that you can actually use to explore problems, ideas, and opportunities. I mean, like creating prototypes, you can actually makes you adapt to change early because you have not launched yet, you have not tested yet, right? So if any issue comes up, you can actually go back to the drawing board, go back to empathizing with your customer, go back to redefining the problem statement to cross your T's, and dot your I's. It also provides a sense of ownership to all concerned stakeholders, right? And actually improves time to market by minimizing the number of errors to correct before product release. I think I mentioned this a few seconds ago, where before releasing your product, before launching your product, you've actually reiterated the process over and over again to make sure that the ideal in that the problem the solution you provided is actually ideal for your users, right? How do prototypes? So the first one is the bias to action. You have the creative serendipity, right? And for bias to action, it actually states that design thinking is a misnomer, right? It's more about doing them than thinking. I mean, like that is really important. Sorry, excuse me. That is really important. It's a misnomer. So it's actually more about doing than thinking. Yes, it's called a design thinking, but more of your more of your job actually deals with action. The creative serendipity actually, the idea is this, right? By deeply immersing yourself within your subject of interest, you can open up opportunities for happy incidents, things that you didn't even expect to happen. You actually open yourself to probable more difficult solutions that may occur, more more structured solutions, which actually in turn helps the customer. And then you also learn by doing. Now, this is like a low fidelity prototype, or it's also called, other people call it low fidelity mockup. Actually talks about the skeletal structures or the cheapest thing, right, that you've done that actually relates with the problem and with the solution that you are actually solving. Remember, fidelity actually refers to the level of detail of functionality you include in your prototype, right? And the level of fidelity you choose actually should be appropriate for presenting your users in your user testing so that they can give focused feedback. Now, example of low fidelity prototyping is a paper sketch, the wireframes, the skeletal structures that you see in your application, why it's still like running. Of course, there are pros and cons of low fidelity, right? Yeah, the pros is that it's cheap. Yeah, it's easily disposable, right? I mean, like you can actually trash it when you're done, right? It's easy to create, right? It's easy to change, right? And also test where your errors are, right? It encourages design thinking, individual design thinking among team, and anyone, absolutely anyone can produce them. Hey, yeah, the intern can actually produce a low fidelity mockup, right? Because it's a paper sketch. Anyone can actually create a low fidelity mockup. However, the disadvantage is that it lacks realism. It's not real now. So these are just probable solutions. These are just it might work, it might not work, right? Low fidelity mockup is also too basic to reflect user experience. You really can't detail what they are thinking. You really can't detail their pain points from low fidelity mockup, right? It lacks interactivity. No one can actually interact with the low fidelity mockup. No, it's not possible until it's actually be converted to something very feasible that the average user can actually work with. And as such, it's very difficult to make to provide feed to provide feedback. Now, the iFidelity prototype is simply the digital prototype that is being designed on Figma or Adobe XD. Right, iFidelity prototype is your Figma page when you're designing a particular your favorite application as a designer. Right, yeah, you can easily test it. You can actually interact with it. You can move from point A to point B. It's actually more physically engaged stakeholders. I mean, like I come into a meeting and what I share is my Fidelity prototype. Why? Because I can actually give it to my stakeholders, to my investors. I can actually give it to my CEO to interact with it, and then they can easily get. I can easily get their feedback from. I can easily understand their behavior, right, from the prototype they're interacting with. So, which is why that actually also encourages design thinking, and you can actually pinpoint specific areas to test. Not just that, you can pinpoint specific areas to go back and correct, right? So the cons of low fidelity prototype is that it's more time consuming, right? And it's costlier, right? Probably you need a technology solution, but you need probably, let's take, for example, Figma, or but for low fidelity, you need probably a paper and pencil which you just grabbed by your bedside, right? It's harder to make changes. Users cannot comment on superficial details instead of content, and it encourages user bias. I mean, like this happens mostly with designers or product managers and software developers. Why? Because what is being communicated isn't what is being designed at the end. And as such, so there's this contention that actually happens. And then when you see the designer, the software developer actually comes up and say, "Hey, see, this can be implemented," and your designer is like, "Why are you saying this? I've wasted so much time and effort on this." So it's actually harder to make changes in high fidelity prototype. This is an example of low fidelity prototype. Remember, I spoke about this white. So this is a transition. The low fidelity prototyping, paper sketch or drawings. Now this is a low fidelity, mid fidelity prototyping, right? Where this is like a black and white structured, not really structured. It's black and white. It's just there. There are no colors. There are no specific detailed fonts. There are no specific. You can't interact with it. You don't. There's no feeling, right? And here on the right is the high fidelity prototype where everything has been added. The color, the experience is now pretty there. So this is like a transition. Although there are product designers who actually prefer to skip this part, the mid fidelity part, and they prefer to call their mid fidelity low fidelity prototyping, right? And then they just go from mid to high. But for a starter, it is actually important to do your paper sketch first and then move to your mid fi and then high fi design. Now, the testing phase is actually really, really important. Why? Because that is where you get your user feedback, right? From the prototype you've developed, right? And you get to understand their understanding. You get a deeper understanding on your users. Is it really what they want? Your solution you provided, are they really happy with it? It also allows you to empathize and then get a different level of understanding, especially from the way they are thinking of, if a customer is actually happy about your solution, you can tell why you tested it with them and then they are happy. I mean, like, you can tell if you're frustrated. You can tell if I'm really not comfortable with this, right? So, and this is like really important and really, really, I mean, like super important. It says there, prototype as if you know you're right, but test as if you know you're wrong. Now, this is really, I mean, like, it actually speaks personally to me. Why? Because when you're prototyping, ensure you actually put away every form of assumption. Of course, you would have done that from the empathy stage, your defined stage, then your ideation stage. But you're prototyping as if, yes, what I'm building is the best solution. But when you're testing, you do not need to prove so much superiority in front of the customers. Why? Because at the end, it feels like, yeah, I thought you promised me the best solution. So what is this? So you really want to like be on the clean slate with your customers and you're testing your product with them as if it is actually wrong. But definitely, of course, what you're doing was actually right. The benefit of testing here is it saves times and money, especially before, after you've launched. If you don't test and then you launch it to the market and then customers are having like really serious issues, I mean, like that is like a waste of resources, right? So testing it actually helps you save time and money. It helps you review unexpected insight, and it helps you improve user satisfaction. Now, the testing guidelines, let your users compare alternatives. Show, don't tell them, just show them. Interact with it. This is your like this is your product. Use it like it's your own, right? And then let them. You should be able to read their experience if you're really solving the problem, if they enjoy assessing your product, right? Observe them, like I said, ask follow-up questions. Okay, if this is what you want, what other alternative would you provide if you didn't want this? You have testing methods like the concept testing, like the A/B testing, the usability testing, and also the first click testing. And lastly, like sorry, we've actually run out of time, which is why I had to run through this. This is like one of the my design quotes that I love by Debbie Millen. It says design is one of the few disciplines that is a science as well as an art. Effective, meaningful design requires intellectual, rational rigor, along with the ability to elicit emotions and beliefs. Thus, designers must balance both the logic and the lyricism of humanity every time they design something. A task that requires a singularly mysterious skill. A designer is a problem solver. On your hands, you have the ability to make people or break them. And the solutions you provide actually determine how successful you will be as a designer. The solutions you provide actually determine if you will make their life easy or difficult. On your hands are a tool to actually effect change and change the world at large. But what do you do as a designer, right? So, which is what Debbie is telling us today, right? Designers must balance both the logic and lyricism of humanity. So while you're designing with your head, you're thinking logically, you have a bit of empathy and putting yourself in the shoes of your customers. And you keep asking yourself, is this really the solution I would want for myself, right? I hope you enjoyed the class. I think we're going to go ahead and take questions as we move ahead. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. I believe you enjoyed the class. So right now, I'm open to questions now.
Thank you so much, Ricky. I think you can stop sharing your screen and you can share our cameras back. So
Okay.
just give me a second. Okay, uh, Ricky, you there?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect. So, first things first, I think I speak for everyone. Loved the session. I think that was pretty detailed, and I think that was something everyone was looking forward to, and something that everybody was expecting. And that was pretty detailed. All the phases of the iterative process, that is design thinking. And I loved how you explained your approach to solving problems. I mean, I have certain products that I prefer using, right? Like I have Twitter, I have Instagram, and I can imagine the amount of efforts the creators would have put in making sure that the product is easy to use, and by always keeping the customers first, right? So I also love the quotes, by the way. The one that I love the most was probably interface brings customers, but experience keeps them, right? And about design being
Absolutely.
science and art, and that was absolutely great. So great session overall. I think, like you said, we are a little short on time, so we may not be able to pick up all the questions. We will pick up just one, but
Okay.
But Ricky, before we move on to the Q&A session, I have a quick announcement, super quick announcement
Okay.
for everyone that has joined, and I'm pretty excited about it. So this is something that we are launching soon. We are launching Pro School, right? So Pro School is a UI UX design training school to help designers get trained, intern, and even work full time. We are currently offering a 6 month extensive UX UI design training program where the first 4 months you will be taught by industry experts and mentors. And when I say mentors, they are like really big people, right? From big agencies that you know. And then, I mean, the first 4 months will be dedicated to help you gain a more in depth knowledge on UI and UX design. And in the next 2 months, you will be working as an intern with India's leading design agency, Procreator, uh, to help you get the skills, experience, and confidence to work professionally. So, what I will do is, I am posting the link in the chat box, and you can just fill up the form there, and we will reach out to you as soon as possible with more details around the curriculum. Okay, so here we go. Just a second. Right. So the link is up in the chat window. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys over there. Now I think Ricky, we can move to the Q&A session. We'll just, like I said, we'll just take up one question, right? So let's pick it. Let's pick up this one. So how do you encourage a design thinking culture within a team or an organization?
Okay, Mike check. Thank you so much for that question.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, something, right? Design thinking is being used by everyone, right? So you imputing, or do I say, starting of imbibing the culture of design thinking in a team as a leader is the most easy thing. Why? Because the only thing you just have to do is to gather your team around. And so this is one thing I do for my team every week, right? Virtually, we gather 1 hour every week to just brainstorm, right? And
Mm,
brainstorming this is not part of like the daily stand-up, but we just come 1 hour every week to brainstorm. And in the brainstorming session, it is very important, especially as a team lead. It's a no holds bar session.
mm,
So provide any solution you can think of. Provide, and it's not just really about providing solution. I also tell my team, provide problems regarding this product that you can think of. Because in the real sense, okay, so let's take for example now, cross-border payments here in Africa is still a major issue, right? It's still many, which is why you see many fintechs that are still like really, really springing up, right? So it has to do with government policies and all that. So in a team like that, you're encouraging your team members to, hey, see,
I'm sorry, Ricky. We have lost you apparently. I am assuming there's some problem with the internet. Just give us a second. Hey, Ricky. Am I audible to you?
yes, Mike, can you hear me loud and clear now?
Yeah, you're pretty audible right now. We lost you for the last 10 seconds. Would you mind repeating?
Oh, okay. Apologies. So, where did you lose me? Okay, so I think I'm just going to continue. Okay, right. So, as a team, the design thinking, starting off a design thinking process is actually the most easy thing because many a times, unknown to you, right, your team members actually thinking faster and more effective than you. Trust me,
Mm,
you have like quite a number of super smart persons on your team, right? So you want to provide an avenue, a medium where you create a scenario like a thinking room where everyone comes in, right,
Hmm.
and provide their probable solution where everyone gathers. For companies who do not have a thinking room, right, they go on. I usually encourage going on. I mean, like on vacations, right? Because one thing I've come to realize also is that the best solution comes from an atmosphere of happiness, an atmosphere of vibe where everyone is just freely thinking.
Really
So you
positive.
want to eliminate that corporate environment where everyone is like thinking straight, where you are the boss, and then you're like, okay, yes, please, next person, please let me hear your idea. Okay, yes, please let me hear. No, you want to make it, you want to create a vibe that everyone is actually happy to share ideas, right? You want to throw back questions and then they answer you. So make it more interactive. So, which is why I always encourage product managers because they mostly carry this out to create an atmosphere such that every member of your team is freely accessible to you. That way, you can actually promote a culture that even when you are not there, they can message you when an idea pops into their head.
Yeah, I think that is definitely a healthy culture to have, and I think that will ensure success when it comes to problem solving and building products on the longer run. I think thank you so much, Ricky. This was a great session, like I said, and I hope that uh, this solved the problem. I think the answer was fruitful enough for whoever asked the question. So thank you, Ricky. Like I said again for the session, and I think we can call it a wrap. Love the work you're doing. Just keep it up, and I think we'll see everyone else in the next workshop pretty soon.